Hi, this is Jill Merriman, and I am a business consultant who helps entrepreneurs get through the day. How do they work at home, and how do they network online and offline? How do they increase their sales? How do they keep track of their expenses? I was an accountant, a corporate accountant for 8 years, and 28 years ago decided to start my own business so I could be home with my kids. So I've been working at home for a long time, and I realized that now during this time, most people who are forced to work at home right now because of the global virus situation, that they really don't have just some basic tools or some basic guidelines. So I thought, you know what, if this could help at least one person, one new mom or a mom that's home now and their kids are home from school, then it would be worth it. So I thought, let me just put together some ideas, jot down some things that have helped me through the years. Now I have to tell you, this was a trial and error for me, because when I started 28 years ago, the World Wide Web was just coming on the scene. So we're talking no emails, no internet of any kind, and it was just the good old-fashioned pick up the phone and talk to people. But now with video and Zoom conferencing and YouTube, which this is going to be on, it's become a lot easier, and you just have to plan your day a little better. So here's some of my ideas, and I hope it helps you. And of course, if you had any questions, you could just email me, and I'll put down my email in the messages later. The first thing is, the cool thing about working at home is that you could dress any way you want. However, know that you should be business casual at least. Now, I have a denim jacket on, which is a little more casual than business casual, but I decided to take my office outside today because I just needed to get some air. And I thought, okay, it's not raining, why not? And you could do that when you're outside. People know you're working from home now. Years ago, it really wasn't as acceptable as it is now. So as long as you're dressed from here up, that looks good. I mean, I have slippers on, which is a really cool thing that I like to wear, because it reminds me, yes, this is why I'm home. This is one of the things I like about being home, is that I could be casual and work any way I want, as long as from here up, business casual. So just realize the noise level in your home, in the room that you're conducting a conference call or a Zoom meeting. Also, you know, half the time I don't do videos because I don't have my contact lenses in, I don't have makeup on, I just try to fix my face a little bit today. But sometimes you're in the middle of things and you don't realize, and 3 or 4 hours go by, which leads me to my second point, which is make a list the night before. This has always helped me, of what are the top 5 things you need to get done. Whether that's a particular email, a particular phone call, you have to reach out to these 2 people, you have to go to, let's say, the post office and get this 1 letter certified mail out. You know, things like that, like the top 5 things you have to do. And I would do that the night before, because this is what's happened to me. I'll say, oh, tomorrow morning, I'm just so exhausted. Tomorrow morning, I'll make a list of 5 things. And then in the morning, maybe the kids were up during the night, they couldn't sleep, or they were sick, or something happens, they get up late, and I'm running them to school, which right now, nobody's running to school, but you have to get them ready to do their home education. And all of a sudden, it's 10:30, 11 o'clock, and you're not getting everything. You didn't even get one thing done, let alone you've got dishes in the sink and they're running around like crazy, and oh, you wanted to throw laundry in, and it just doesn't work. So I found, after trial and error again, that if I put these 5 things down at night, and it doesn't have to be that you're laying in bed and you have to think of these things. It could be at 8 o'clock at night, the night before, when you're thinking, you know what, I didn't get that done today. I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. Write it down. I always have a pad like this. Yes, people do use their phones, but I still use a dollar store pad that I write things down, and I like to make a list. So as I do those things, I check them off the list. It makes me feel better. If I get more things done than those 5 things, great, but those are the things that are really necessary. Now, things could come up during that day that maybe you can't address the 5 things, but at least you got 3 of those 5 and some other things done. So definitely make the list the night before. You'll thank me, I know, because it took me a long time to get to that point, and now I'm like, why didn't I always do that? The third thing is, you want to have a special place in your house where you're taking either the team calls, if you have a network marketing business, or if you're working from home because of what's going on right now. You want to have a certain place where you have your laptop, you have a file, you have a piece of paper, where the kids can't get to, or your puppies. I have 2 mini golden doodles that, were in and out of the room. Right now they're on the other side of the fence running. Hopefully they won't bark. But that's the other thing. If you're in a meeting, you want to make sure you're in a spot that has a door that you could close in case someone comes to the door, FedEx, UPS, and the dogs start barking or the kids start fighting. I'm giving you scenarios that after 28 years, I've seen it all. I really have. And I coach people and I hear it. And sometimes they're on video and they don't realize that everybody could see. So they're eating loudly on a conference call. One time we had someone take a shirt off. Yes, it was a little strange, but be aware that there's a camera on you and people could see what you're doing. You're yawning, you've got your head back, you got your eyes shut. I've seen it all. So have a spot, even if it is a closet. If it's a closet, it will work as long as they don't see the clothes around it. It could be an empty closet you have in a spare room that you could just have a little step stool in there, and that's where you put your laptop on. Honestly, whatever works. But it has to be a special spot where no one else is going to get in there. And it could be quiet with a door. Here's another thing that's really cool about working home is that you get to do it all, right? You get to work at home, you get to pick up and drop off the kids somewhere, you get to do laundry, you get to make dinner early. So what I liked is that I wasn't thinking about dinner at 5 or 6 o'clock at night, which is too late. Right now it is in the afternoon, 3:30, and I already have my stuff defrosting from the freezer for the last 2 hours. So even though it may seem a little obvious to do that, a lot of times you're so busy doing your work that you forget. And now it's 4 o'clock and you're saying, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to make for dinner? What am I going to prepare? Okay, we can't have cereal again. We can't do pancakes. We can't have scrambled eggs. I mean, you could do that, but if you really want to feel like you're owning this, doing work at home, you should really think about it by mid-morning and say, okay, what should we do? Even if it's burgers, just think of something and prepare for it. If it's making soup, chop the vegetables early, stick them in a bowl, take those 10 minutes and make your break, which leads me to the next thing, the next step, which is make your breaks. That's one of my common, I should put a tagline on here, make your breaks, because that's one of the things that I've always done my whole life, but especially working at home, is making my breaks. And by that I mean, no one's telling you when to take a break. No one's telling you that you can't work 5 hours straight and then do, a 2-hour break. But it works better, not only for your back, that you're sitting at a computer, and for just your mental well-being, that you're not sitting there in a room on a computer for 4 hours straight, is that you take breaks when you need them. And if you don't, I would set a timer on your clock. I've done this because I will, as an accountant with the accounting business that I had, it was, nonstop 4 or 5 hours, especially if I had a difference on the books and I had to figure it out. Next thing I know, it's 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I haven't gotten up from my desk. Oh yeah, I haven't eaten. The kids are running around, whatever it is, right? So I like to say I put a timer on my phone every hour, every 90 minutes, and I'll get up and I'll walk around, because if you're sitting too long, your back gets stiff. If you're not hydrating, you're not taking in fluids, it's just not good for you, right? So I would do something every 90 minutes and I would stretch. You could start your morning with a stretch. You could start your morning with a yoga, meditation, writing in a journal, anything that makes you happy that could start your day. Because if you don't do that at the beginning of the day, your day is going to run away from you. And now you're going to feel, I don't know if resentful is the right word, but you're going to feel like you were robbed of that being at home advantage, right? So what I like to do is I do not do the 5 a.m. morning thing. I know some people, it works for them. It doesn't work for me. So I usually get up at 7. I get my dogs out. And then as they're hanging around, I used to sit there with a newspaper years ago, but now everything's online. But I liked my cup of coffee in the newspaper. 15, 20 minutes, that's all I needed for me. So I liked that. But now what I like to do is get up, have my coffee. I stroll through my emails and I do a meditation. I actually do a meditation. I have something, a Bible verse, I have scripture, whatever it is that makes you happy. And then I walk my dogs and then I come back and I eat breakfast. So that takes maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and that hour is really for me because I like to walk the dogs, I like to have my coffee, and I like to do my spiritual meditation, not in that order. But that's what I do. If I don't do that in the morning, it doesn't get done. It just doesn't, and I feel like I need that. So whatever it is that makes you happy, if it's going for a walk, I like to take walks late. So after this video, I'm going to take a walk because that's what I like to do. And sometimes I take the dogs with me and sometimes I don't. So what I'm trying to just express is that this really could work to your advantage where you could get everything done, but you have to carve out time. You have to carve out buckets of what it is you want to get done. You don't have to be a workaholic and work 8 to 12 hours and the kids are running amok and they're not getting the attention and you're not getting dinner done or thinking about getting it done, even if it's just a quick, scrambled egg, whatever it is that you have to do. But you could do it all. I've done it all, and it just takes a little bit of practice, and you have to set up these things in place so that you could be successful and be happy about what it is you're doing. So those were the things that I wanted to tell you. So carving out special time. Oh, the last thing, carving out special time, sorry. And then I'll recap. So this is what I found that was really helpful because not only do I have a coaching business, but I have a network marketing business, which I absolutely love because it works for me, right? So sometimes if I don't have a carved out amount of time. So I'll usually take calls between 9 and 11:30 in the morning and then from 1 to 3. If I don't put that block of time in, I'll have a team member call me, someone in my downline, or I'll have a customer call me and they'll want to talk now. And you know what happens? My scheduling that I put aside the night before of getting my things done and taking my walk and getting my dinner ready and doing my work and making my calls and doing my emails is gone. That whole schedule is gone because someone else's time, someone else dictated what I needed to do. And I don't work that way. And you shouldn't work that way either if you have your own business at home. So I would say set aside a block of time that is just for answering calls and getting back to people who have reached out to you that day, maybe. Like you have a certain amount of time that you're doing what it is that you had planned to do, but then from 9 to 11 you're going to reach out to 5 people and hopefully they'll call you back in that time. And if not, you could set aside that same time the next day. If you have a doctor appointment, if you have a dentist or a hair appointment, whatever it is, you're going to have a different block of time. So what I'm saying is do it what's convenient for you because you're the one working the business and you're going to be more productive that way. So just to recap, dressing the way that you're comfortable, but also business casual, making a list the night before of at least 5 things that you need to do. And it could be business related and some personal, but that you need to do. A special place, even if it's a closet where you're doing your work, taking your calls, that has a door that's not necessarily soundproof, but away from the loud noises. Think about planning dinner early, so that you could have enough prep time. Carve out a special block of time for taking calls and calling back people. Making your breaks, things that you want to do in your day that fulfill you, that make you happy, that you're home working so that you have a really good work-life balance. And if you're frustrated with what's going on at home, it's probably because you don't have the work-life balance, and try to do the best you can with getting it there with hopefully some of these tips. and starting your day with you time, whatever that is, which is meditating, yoga, walking, journaling, coffee in the morning, walking the dogs, whatever it is that makes you happy. Now, saying those things, right? I think that was 7 tips. There's a kink in it now, because now a lot of people have their kids home from school and they're doing their schoolwork. So now if you're used to being home and you have the kids, it should be easier for you to navigate this. But if you're not used to being home working because you work in an office and your kids are at school usually, and now everybody's home, that's where it's going to be a little difficult. So try to put as many of these tips in place and it will help you. And you don't have to do it all at once, because then you're going to get frustrated and not do anything. So my suggestion to you is, over the next week or so, each day try to put one more thing in place and see how that goes. If it works for you, great. You might have to say to the kids, you know, mommy's going to be on the phone from 9 to 10 a.m. and give them busy work. You can't expect them to keep themselves busy. Most of them have a certain time that they have to be online with their teacher if they're first grade and up. If they're preschoolers, you may want to have look at something online that's a music program or an art program, or you might have to carve out that time to be with them. And then when they nap, that's what I used to do, is do your work. Do the most precedent thing that you have to do, like those 5 things. When they nap in the morning or in the afternoon, that's when you would do that. Unfortunately, if you have little ones that are not 5 years old yet, your me time is cut down to them, right? Because if they're usually going to a preschool or they're with a babysitter and now they're not, you're not going to have that coffee time, but you could do it with them, so you could have time with them. So I hope this has been helpful. If you needed any extra tips or you wanted some more help, feel free to email me, jill@jillmerriman.com, and I will be glad to help you, because you know what? At this time, we all need to help each other out. Everyone's got gifts and everyone's got talents, and we just have to share them. Really, that's what it's all about. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day, and keep on going. Have a great day. Bye.